There is an aspect of pronunciation and communication speaking in American English that is very unique because many other languages are not quite doing it, and it has a connection to do with a concept that I call firmness. Firmness refers to the degree of kind of like harshness or solidness to your words. So, for instance, like if I talk like this, it's a very firm way of talking. And if I talk like this is a very soft way of talking. And it's not just about like shouting or whispering or things like that, but it has a very strong ability to allow you to sound more natural in American English or immediately give you an accent. Because one of the things that we see with a lot of other languages around the world is they are using a high degree of firmness and a much lesser degree of softness. And if you are not able to tap into softness, it's going to immediately give you an accent. So today we're going to do some exercises to practice this, especially at the word level, which is something I see over and over again being a challenge for my students. Good morning, guys. Good evening. Good afternoon, guys. Welcome to The Express. This is a show brought to you by our channel over at Forward. If you have not subscribed to our, I definitely encourage you to do it because we do exercises like this very regularly on the channel, and particularly this show is The Express. We are here on Thursdays right around 10:30 a.m. New York, where we take a look at a text and talk about some exercises like this. And to guide you in this process, there is me. What's up, guys? My name is Jeff. Hello, if you're hanging out with us too. Naturally Fluent. We do have a quick question from Naturally Fluent. Gotcha, I'm going to see you in the background. I'll bring you on in a moment. Naturally Fluent asks, can I ask you how to speak from the throat? Well, and I see Alyssa, I see you in the background as well. I'll bring you on in a moment. So, speaking from the throat, what we're really talking about is trying to add some resonance and increase our breath and airflow. Okay, so a couple of techniques just to talk about that before we get into our central exercise. So we need to make sure, again, we're tapping into our diaphragm. Fortunately, your body does a great job of letting you know if you're using your diaphragm or not. Because, for instance, what you can do is if you take a hand, let's say you put it on your stomach, just take a big breath in, and then take a big breath out. Now, it's hard to see from that angle, but hopefully when you breathe in and you breathe out, you feel your stomach getting larger and then getting smaller. Okay, so that's a sign that you're using your diaphragm. It all starts with that. Another way that you can check to see if you're using your diaphragm, you guys have seen my breath videos on the Fluent American channel, is if you take your fists, put them in towards the center of your ribs, kind of by your sternum, and press firmly against your ribs with your fists and breathe in. You're going to see everything opens up, and then breathe out. Everything contracts. So that's another sign that you're using your diaphragm. Okay. Now, your question originally is, how do you speak from your throat? And you're like, well, I want to speak from my throat. Who cares about your diaphragm? Well, the thing is that if you're not accessing your diaphragm, you're not going to get that level of resonance that you're looking for. Okay, so you have to engage your diaphragm if your goal is to have that resonance and have that lower sound quality that you're talking about from the throat. The last thing that we'll talk about is a concept called placement. I'm not going to go too deep in placement because if you go to youtube.com/fluentamerican, you can find that there's a whole playlist of videos dedicated entirely to placement. In fact, you can even look up on YouTube, if you do YouTube search, you can do 7-day placement challenge Fluent American. If you type this into search on YouTube, it'll bring you a playlist of exercises that you can do to practice placement. Placement refers to where are you projecting sound from when you talk. For a lot of languages, we're projecting from a higher position. For American English, we need to make sure we're instead projecting from a lower position, because if you go too high, it's not going to be very natural sound. To give a real quick example of this, let's use a sound that exists in your first language. We're going to use the E sound. Okay. Most likely in your first language, the E sound is going to sound like E, E, or something similar to that. You may even, if you pronounce it looking at yourself in the mirror, you're probably going to see your lips tensing a little bit like E, E, or something like that. In fact, if anyone here speaks Mandarin, or if anyone's studying Mandarin or interested in Mandarin at all, if you look at like the number 1 in Mandarin, you're pronouncing it like E, E. You know, it's a tense, high E sound. Okay, but American English doesn't really have that exact same sound. The closest we have is like E, E, and the big difference isn't necessarily in the mouth position or where you put your tongue. The biggest difference really is where you're projecting the sound from. So for an American English perspective, we're not trying to pronounce it from the mouth. We're not trying to do like E. Okay, we're trying to do more like E, 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 E. So it's just a placement thing. You got to project from a different part of your body. As a quick experiment you can do with placement too, there's lots of different placements. Your body's full of them because you are three-dimensional creatures, right? So, for instance, like right now, my placement's by my nose. I'm projecting from my nose. Right now, my projection's from my lips. My placement's from my lips. And now my placement's closer to down here. Okay, so those are hopefully some concepts that will help you with your question about how to speak more from the throat. First things first, you got to engage your diaphragm more to add more breath. And the second thing, you got to think about where you are projecting sound from. All right, we're going to slide over to our central topic for today. You're going to see the topic of the video says treat words like the radioactive. Why radioactive? Well, radioactive substances have something called a half-life, which means that they, after a certain period of time, half of the material, vanishes, disappears, gets weaker. Okay, and so that's kind of what we want to consider with sounds as well. We want to we're going to practice taking them at a starting position where they're very strong, and then we're going to try to remove some of that strength. And we'll see if you like these exercises. Before we look at our text, we have a couple students joining us who are going to help us out. We have Gansham hanging out with us, and we also have Alyssa. How are you both? Can you hear me okay? Maybe. Maybe not. I'll give them a moment to get situated then. But if you're watching this and you want to practice along with me, we're going to just start off with a basic vowel sound. Okay, so we're going to take a vowel, for instance, like the ah sound. And let's just first off just pronounce it starting very firm. Okay, so we're going to say the ah sound 3 times. We're going to do it firm each time. So like ah, ah, ah. Okay, let's do that one more time. That's a firm sound. Ah, ah, ah. Kind of punchy, right? And then you're going to notice towards the end of that, the breath kind of just cuts. It's like ah, and then the faucet just turns off, right? Conversely, the other way that we can practice this too is we can practice doing an ah sound soft 3 times, just like ah, 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 ah. Notice that when we do it softer, the breath kind of expands. Okay. Gotcha. I might put you on mute, but when you feel like you're ready, you can unmute yourself and we can practice that exercise. Just a note. Okay. So again, 3 times firm. Ah, ah, ah. And then 3 times soft. Ah, ah, ah. Okay. So our challenge is to take a syllable and to make that transition from a really firm sound at the starting position and then gradually make it softer. Okay. So we just practiced doing an ah sound firm, practice doing the ah sound soft. What does it sound like when we try to go from firm all the way down to soft? So that's probably going to sound something like ah, ah, ah. And the nice thing is that you can really do this with any sort of sound. Okay. Got you a reminder, you can unmute yourself anytime you're ready, assuming the connection is strong enough for you. Okay. So for instance, we could do this with an E sound. So like starting 3 firm, like E, E, E. Then we can do like 3 soft, E, E, E. And then what we're going to do is we're going to try to make that transition from firm to soft. So like E, E, E. And again, that's the practice. Alyssa's back. We're going to check her connection. Hello, Alyssa. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Connection is a little spotty. I'm going to give the connection a minute just to see if it stabilizes a bit. Okay, I'm going to put you on mute just for a moment. Okay. So, those are with individual sounds, but this is also going to be true for words. So, for instance, like let's say we could even just do the word words. Okay, so let's do the word words 3 times really firm. Words, words, words. Okay, let's now do words 3 times very soft. Words, words, words. And now what we're going to do is we're going to try to start firm and then go soft. So like words, words, words. Okay. Gotcha. You doing okay?
Yeah.
Great. Okay.
Can
So
you can you
Gotcha.
can you can you hear me properly?
Yes, I believe so. I think you're okay. It's up to Alex hanging out with us as well from Helsinki. Thanks for checking in. Great to have you. Great to see you back. Finding us here. Okay. So Gotcha. I'm going to run through a couple of exercises with you. Okay. Let's start off. Let's again. We're just going to do a vowel. Okay. This time let's do like the sound from words. Okay. Can you say 3 times really firm, just like er?
uh, uh, uh,
One thing for that, the R sound might be a vowel for you to take a look at after this stream, by the way, because I'm hearing versus The back of your tongue doesn't sound like it's quite
uh,
high enough. Okay, just a note. Okay, but let's try doing that soft now. Can you do like er?
uh, uh,
I would try to go even softer than that. Still a little firm. Er.
uh, uh, uh,
I'll be honest, that's still a bit firmer than what we're looking for. And I think this kind of highlights the fact that this can be a pretty challenging exercise because a lot of us are speaking languages that are very firm. I'll be honest. Okay. Um, let's try to alternate. Can you try doing firmed and soft and firmed and soft? So like er, 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 Can you try that?
uh, 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 uh,
Very inconsistent, to put it mildly. In fact, the last pair you did sounded almost identical. So this is definitely something I'd encourage you to practice into replay. I'm going to check in with Alyssa to see if her connection has stabilized a bit. Alyssa, can you hear me okay?
Is it okay now?
Let's find out. Let's try to do this. We're gonna do the same vowels I just did with Ganshim. Okay, so we're gonna start off with sound really firm for me. Can you say like Can you try it?
Er.
Really good. I like that. Let's try now soften it a bit. Okay, so real soft, just like er.
Er.
Very good. I could hear that. So, Gotcha, I hope you can hear the difference there. This is what we're talking about. I could hear that difference in quality. Okay. So now let's try to alternate. Okay, so we're going to do firm, soft, firm, soft. So let's can you do like er.
Er.
Very good. Very good. Okay. Alyssa, do you have any? Actually, I'll open up to anyone. Gotcha or Alyssa, do you guys have um, any questions for me so far? You
yeah,
feel okay?
it's fine.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah,
Okay. So let's now try to do. Now we've done an individual sound. We've done a little bit with some different sounds actually. Let's try to do this with a word. Okay, so we're going to do words again. Okay, so Ganchi, I want to start with you again. So we're going to alternate. Okay, so we're going to say then words, and we're going to alternate between firm, soft, firm, soft. It's like words, words, words. Can you try doing that for me?
yeah, uh, uh, worse, uh, uh, worse, uh, uh, worse, worse.
Okay, I could definitely hear compared to where we started, especially. I'm hearing that difference between firm and soft at a much better level now. Thank you for doing a gunship. I like that better. Alyssa, we're going to do the same thing over with you. Okay, so Alyssa, if you can do that same exercise, so again, words, words.
Words. Words. Er. Words.
Very good. Okay, you got it. No, you did good. This is exactly what I'm looking for. Okay. Um, so now we need to take this to the next level. Okay, so we've done a lot of separation between, okay, this is going to be firm, this is going to be soft. I got some bad news though, because what we're going to generally see in English is that it's not going to be that neat. What we're going to see very often is that words, like I mentioned, words are radioactive. They have half-lives, they're going to decay as we say them. So that means that where we start with firmness, what we're very often going to see in American English is we're going to end with weakness. We're going to go softer. Okay. So what I'd like you to do, we're going to say words really slowly, and we're going to start firm and then gradually soften it. Can you do like words? Alyssa, I'll start with you this time. Can you do that for me? Words. Can you do that one more time for me?
How many?
Words.
Okay. Word.
Dude, can you do
Word.
that? Yeah, can you do that 3 times now? I like it.
Word. Word. Word.
I think you can go softer at the end. Do that again.
Okay.
So it's not
Word.
words. It's more words.
Oh, okay. It's like sighing, like
Kinda.
word, no, word, word, word,
Okay. So here's
word.
the thing when we're doing these exercises. Alyssa, I know that we had division stuff. Do you have no? This is gonna be a horrible example. For our situation here, I'm thinking about light switches. Okay. Um, and so lights. There's a couple different types of light switches. There's your traditional ones that you can just flip
Yeah.
on and off, like it's going or it's
Mhm.
not. It's kind of like turning on a car. Like you can turn it on and it's like it's going, or you turn the key off and it just shuts down. Right. We don't want to do that. Speaking isn't like a light switch. It's not like we're doing firm, then we're doing soft. Doing firm, it doesn't work like that. It's not that neat. Instead of a light switch, it's more like a dimmer switch. Okay, where the light
I
gradually gets
see.
darker. Okay, so it's not words. That's not what we're going for. It's not words. It's going to gradually get to softness. Word, word. Do you see that? It's a
I
little bit more
see.
gradual. Okay, do it slow, but take me from firm to soft. Okay, word.
Word,
I like that better. Yeah, again.
word.
Okay, I can work with that. Thank you, Alyssa. I'm going to slide over to Ganshim and practice the same thing. Okay. Ganshim, can you do that same thing? We're going to keep using words, okay? Word.
word,
Too firm
word.
at the end. You're, I'm not really. You're very tight in the throat at the end of that, so there's not a lot of breath is making it through. Okay, it's a little bit too tight. Word.
Word, word,
Something that might be
word,
worth reviewing is a concept called a vocal fry. Vocal fry is a it's a pronunciation feature that happens sometimes when the placement can be low, but not enough air makes it through. So we kind of like talk like this, like words, but it's not like that. You know, um, it's more
word,
words, words.
word, word, word,
Let's go real slow. Okay, words.
word.
Okay. Now some of it too, I always do have to put in the caveat. We're talking through the magic of the internet and which is all around us, and we're thousands of miles apart. So lots of things can happen in the distance between where you are and where I am. We're also talking through microphones and technology that can duck the audio and modify it. So you are going to be the best gauge of if you're doing what I'm saying or not. But what I'm hearing, I'm not really hearing the softness, I'll be honest. So if you feel like you're doing breath, I will trust you. But I'm not quite hearing that on my end. Okay. So let's do it one more time, real slow. Words.
Word, word.
Again, I'm not quite hearing the breaths. Okay, so I would just be mindful of that. Okay. Before I move further though and start to bring on the text, does anyone have a question for me so far? And if we're having trouble right now, that's okay. If what I would do is I would watch this on the replay, do the earlier exercises where we just did vowels and then we did individual words and things. We've also done previous videos in the past on softness, so I would be looking at those videos for reference if you're having a hard time with anything here. Okay, but Alyssa or Gotcha, does anyone have a question for me so far?
Yeah, when I go to the lower placement, that time my voice automatically vocal territory, creative vocal territory. I don't know what that will be happen to me. My voice, I don't know. But when I go to the lower placement, that time I feel vocal fry in my throat.
Um, I mean, that's what I'm hearing. So that's good that you're having the same sort of experience your listener is having. So that's good. Um, if you have vocal fry, the first strategy to remove that is to actually just speak a little louder. Could be you're not speaking loud enough. The other thing I would try doing is I would try playing around placement. It could be your placement's too low. Okay, it could be that your placement's still a little bit too high. You know, I would also do the breath exercises to make sure you're engaging your diaphragm, getting enough airflow through. We don't want it to sound like this. It's not, in general, it's not the type of speech we're trying to do here. At least not here on the channel. Okay. Other questions for me?
I have a question. It's more of like an observation.
Sure.
Um, it's like you're doing the voice thingy, and then it becomes voiceless gradually. Like,
It kind of just fades into
it's
breath.
like,
It
okay.
just fades into breath. Again, if I had to
And
summarize American English in one word, it would be breath. We're just trying to move air. That's all we're trying to do. Lots of air, lots of breath.
does it also have to do with the throat, like weakening the throat a bit
I don't
and
know.
let
I want
air?
to, you know, a caveat. Like whatever interpretation you need to describe the experience, I'm fine with. If that phrasing is weakening the throat, then you can call it that. I personally would say we're trying to minimize the engagement of muscles in the throat because we want it to be an open airway. Okay.
Okay.
But at the same time, just because it's an open airway, it's kind of like a door. I open the door. When I open the door to my house, it's not like I open the door and then suddenly all this air is just rushing to leave. It's not like that. It's not like a vacuum of space, right? It's instead it's that I open the door and now the breeze can kind of gently leave or enter. It's very gentle though. It's not like a huge rush. Okay, and it's the same thing with your throat. Just because you have an open airway through your throat does not mean you need to force a lot of air through. It's a gentle process. It's American English. We're very chill. It's very relaxed.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Ganshim had to step away. We'll see if he returns. In the meantime, I have a text for us. Okay, so what we're gonna do, Alyssa, I'm gonna just feed you the words, okay? Of a little section that we'll work on. Okay. And what we're gonna do, this is an exercise. And what I need to really stress with exercises is this is not necessarily how we talk in real life. Okay? It's an exercise. And it's focused on a single element that then you can adapt and modify to your own speech. Okay, so this is not necessarily how we talk in real life. There are principles here that you can apply to your life. Okay? On screen, for those who are watching, I have a poem on screen. This is from the poet Po Chui. Um, we're going to be looking at this last line to start because we have some potentially heavy consonant sounds. Lots of D sounds. They're at the start of words, they're at the end of words. We have some R sounds and things. We have some Z sounds. These are all sounds that, having worked with students, I know can cause people to cut their breath a bit. It's up to Emmanuel hanging out with us as well. So, what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to make some transitions from firmness to softness, just like we did the individual word, but we're going to make it a little bit larger. And for those of you who are joining us late and things like that, just a quick note, this stream is not going to be available on the Fluent American or the Shadowing channel after it finishes. You're going to have to go to the Forward channel to find it, just a note. Okay. Alyssa, I'm going to work with you, okay? We're going to add words one part at a time. Okay, so Alyssa, can you say for me, day? Also, Alyssa, you're on mute, just to note, if you're still hanging out with me. So again, we're going to just start off with a single word and then gradually add more. Alyssa may have had to step away. Ganshim, I'll do the exercise with you then. Ganshim, can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I want you to repeat after me, okay? Can you say, day?
Day.
Okay, one thing, when you're comparing mine to yours, you're still pretty firm at the end. Okay, day.
De.
That's a bit better. Okay, we're going to add another word. We're going to do the by. Can you say day, by?
De. By.
Okay, one of the things I'm hearing is that when your words are ending, your breath is dying. We don't want the breath to die. Your breath is a living thing. We don't want it to die. Lee Young says, I'm an awesome coach. I appreciate you saying that. Thank you. Thanks for hanging out with us. Okay. So it's not day, by, because then we're just kind of cutting everything. Keep the breath flowing. Day, by.
De. By.
Okay. What I'm hearing on my end, and then, again, technology or whatever reason may not be accurate, but what I'm hearing is I'm hearing the breath stop. Day, by, cut, cut, versus day, by.
De. By.
Again, still hearing the breath cut. We're going to add another word. We're going to add the next day. Can you say day, by, day?
De. By. De.
Yeah, still, again, the breath linking. I'm not quite hearing. Okay, we're going to keep going. Now we're going to add another word. Okay, just so you can have something to compare afterwards when you're practicing. Let's add the is. Can you say day, by, day, is?
De. By. De. Is.
Okay, then we got covered. Day, by, day, is covered.
De. By. De. Is. Covered.
Okay, just a quick note. Your placements go in all different places. You can hear on is it went really high. Covered, or we lost our schwas on express one high. So just kind of watch out for that, okay? Let's do down to covered again. Day, by, day, is covered.
De. By. De. Is. Covered.
Yeah, continue watching that is covered. Your placement really jumps high there. We're going to go down to deeper, okay? Day, by, day, is covered. Deeper.
De. By. De. Is. Covered. Deeper.
Yeah, deeper. I heard no softness. That was all firm. Just to know, okay? So be careful. We're going to add the width, okay? Day, by, day, is covered. Deeper. Width.
De. By. De. Is. Covered. Deeper. Width.
That TH was very firm. Wit. Almost getting like a T sound. With. With. That TH almost is going to blend completely with breath, just a note. And then we had the final word dust. It's like day by day is covered deeper with dust.
De. By. De. Is. Covered. Deeper. With. Dust.
Okay, with is probably the word that you're ending the firmest on. Okay, I'm not hearing much extension of breath, so I do want you to watch out with that. But that's one example of an exercise. You can take a sentence, start firm on it, then try to go soft on every single word. Then once you've done that, I'm going to do the second part of the exercise over with Alyssa if she can hear us. Okay, thanks for doing that with me, Ganshim. Okay, Alyssa, can you hear me okay?
Crystal.
Okay. Um, Alyssa, do you remember kind of that sentence I just said? So day by day is covered deeper with dust.
Day by day, it's covered deeper with dust.
Okay. Pretty solid on memory on the words. Your memory is much better than mine. Um, I want to continue playing with extending the breath though. Okay. Because sometimes we're still a little bit firm. Okay. So let's try to do that again. We can go a little slower just for the sake of exercise. So again, day by day is covered deeper with dust. Go a little slower, okay?
Day by day is covered deeper with dust.
Okay, so one of the things that you noticed as well, or at least you noticed that things got a little different when we got to deeper, right? One of the things that happened on deeper, your placement went high. Okay. So we got a little tenser in
Yeah,
our mouth and throat area. Your placement went high. As that happens, you're starting to lose your breath. Okay, you started cutting into your breath area, so your valves also got shorter as well. Okay. So everything from day down to covered was very smooth, but as soon as we got to deeper, those adjustments took away a lot of our breath. And here's the thing, is that when we're talking, the minute your placement changes, it's very hard to send it back down. Okay, it's usually going to take a couple words to recover. So because we had some of that difficulty with the word deeper, we then struggled a little bit with the word with, and then we also struggled a little bit with the word dust because it takes some time to recover. So let's do this again. Let's be careful with deeper. Try to keep that placement down on that D sound. Okay, day by
okay.
day is covered deeper with dust.
Day by day is covered deeper with dust.
Okay, so now you're kind of giving me the opposite. So when you're doing exercises, guys, something I need us to really watch out for. Usually when you're doing exercises, some parts of the exercise are easier than other parts. I get it. That's a good thing. So when you have to restart, you still have to do the easy part. Don't get lazy on the easy part, okay? Don't be like, oh, I'm just going to speed through the easy part so I can get to the hard part. Jeff's told me to work on the deeper part, so I'm just going to ignore the other parts. No, it's the whole thing. We got to do the whole thing again. I know it takes work. I know it's annoying, but no excuses. You're going to notice, Alyssa, if you watch this on the replay, you sped up a bit on that day by day part. So like day by day, but like now we're losing some of the impact. Okay, go slow on everything. There's no rush.
So I do it again?
Okay, please.
Okay, so what I did was I was holding I was gathering air, a lot of air, and then everything.
English is just a slow, controlled, gentle release of air. That's all it is. I promise.
Alright, day by day is
Listen, I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna
coming.
stop you. Go, slow down a little bit. There's no rush.
Okay,
Slow down.
day by day is covered deeper with dust.
Okay. I would continue watching out a little bit for deeper. Your placement has a tendency to go real high on that D sound. Deeper, deeper. You hear a difference?
Deeper.
That E sound still doesn't. You're still a little tight on breath. Can you say D for me? D.
D. D.
D. Do you hear that difference? D versus D.
I struggle with the E sound. D. E.
I don't think it's. I don't think it's. I mean, it could be the E sound. I think my guess is you have trouble with the E sound that links with other consonants. Can you say E for me? E.
E. E.
That's not so bad, right? E. 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 But then as soon as we add some
E.
consonants, can you say like E, B?
E. No.
That's a little tense. Yeah. E, B.
E. B. E. B. E. B.
One of the things I'm hearing is as soon as you're adding those consonant sounds, your vowel is shortening. You're like E, B.
Yeah.
But you can make your vowel longer. E, B.
E. B.
That's a bit better. English gets a lot easier when you just realize there are no consonant sounds. E, B, E, B, E, B. Don't worry about the B. Don't worry about the B. Same thing with D.
E.
E, D, E, D, E, D.
E. 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 D. E. D. E. D. E. D. E. D.
You have a tendency when you're adding that D sound, your placement goes a little higher. It's like E, D, E, D
Yeah.
versus E, D, E. So I'd like you to practice just kind of alternating. I want you to be that crazy lady walking down the street, just saying things to herself, just being like c. Just do that all day. Do that for like a week. You'll be good.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
We'll do.
Um, one final thing before some people sent me some questions. I'm gonna try to answer them before I head out. But let's talk about a final aspect of this. So we've just to kind of recap everything we've done, and for those who are joining us a little bit late, again, this video, if you're watching this on Fluent American or Shadowing channel, this is going to go off those. This is going to be on the forward channel afterwards. So if you want to watch this and practice again, you'll have to go to youtube.com/@goforward. You'll have to join me over there. I'll put that link into the chat. You'll have to go here if you want to watch this afterwards. But we did individual sounds practicing firmness and softness. Then from there, what did we do? We put it into a word. Then from there, what we did? We put it into an actual sentence, but we said it very slowly, and that's not, we don't talk word for word, right? So we're going to have to now do the final step, which is then trying to put this into a sentence. And this is still an exercise, so it's still not going to sound exactly like how people would talk, but it's going to get us one step closer. Okay. So let's do a little bit of chunking. Let's do like 3 thought groups. Okay, so we're going to do day by day. Then we're going to do is covered. And then we're going to do deeper with dust. 3 thought groups. For those of you who like all the technical stuff, what we're going to do, day by day, we're going to stress for the first day is covered. We're going to stress covered. Deeper with dust, we're going to stress dust. So day, covered, dust. We're going to do descending pitch pattern. Very common pitch pattern. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. We're just going to move down each thought group. Okay. And for each word, we're going to try to link things together a little bit more, but we're still going to go through this principle of firm to soft, firm to soft, firm to soft. Okay. So to give an example of what this could sound like, day by day is covered deeper with dust. I'll do that again. Day by day is covered deeper with dust. Okay, so that's going to give you an example of what would it sound like if you have all those things happening. Each thought group moving down in pitch, each word starting slightly firmer and ending softer. Okay? Gotcha. Did you want to try doing that?
Yeah. Day by day, it's covered deeper with.
Okay. I didn't hear dust, so maybe I gotten cutting off there. But a couple notes. First things, you added a whole thought group. You put deeper on its own little island. Okay, so you made a new thought group. Some other things that happen. Remember a central concept of English. Okay, if you change thought group, change the pitch. Change thought group, change the pitch. Change thought group, change the pitch. You can't stay at the same pitch. If you do it once, that's great. Don't do it twice. Okay, you gotta incorporate more contrast into what you're saying. Okay, so I would say if you can on the replay, compare yours to mine. Okay. I'm gonna go give Alyssa a shot at this. Alyssa, can you say that for me?
Day by day, it's covered deeper with dust.
Okay. Some similar notes to what I just mentioned for Gotcha. All your thought groups are more or less at the same pitch. You're like, day by day, it's covered deeper with dust. So part of the reason you're not having that descending pitch pattern is you've also changed a lot of your stresses. You have a lot of initial stress, like deeper with dust. You put a lot of weight on deeper, even though my stress was on dust. So you changed the stress on me. Okay.
Oh, where is the stress in deeper with dust? Is it dust
Dust.
or deep? Oh, dust. Okay, sorry.
No, it's all good, but I want to explain why was your experience different than mine when I did it, and that's the reason why you changed the stress, which sends that pitch higher, and so now all your thought groups end up sounding similar to each other. Okay, just to note. In the interest of time, I do have to try to answer these questions and head out. I'm going to pause us in our discussion here. I'm going to have a new video out soon that's going to continue exploring this concept of firmness and softness. Okay, so keep an eye out on the forward channel for that. Listen, Ganchi, thank you both for hanging out with me. Did anyone else have a final quick question for me before I let you both go?
Questions? Yeah, day by day. So we start off strong with the first day, so day by day. Yeah, like that.
So what I was doing in that phrase, I was stressing the second day, not the first one. And again, it's that
Oh,
central concept we've been doing the entire time. Starting firm on each word. So it's like day by day. And what you're going to, day by day. Okay? And what you're going to see is that my initial consonant's a little firm, but then by the time we get to the vowel, we soften. So it's not day, because that's firm the entire time, right? Versus day, that transitions to softness. And we're doing that for every single word.
sorry, I wasn't paying attention to the instructions.
No, you're
Where
you're,
the
you're all good. You're all
stress
good. It's
came
a little bit pressed for time. Otherwise, I would have liked to gone a little bit more slowly on that. But that's the idea. The beauty of this is you can watch the replay and compare.
from.
Because I promise it was not just you. Other final things.
Mm-mm.
Mm-mm. Okay. Well, Ganchi and Melissa, thank you both for hanging out with me doing these exercises. That's very helpful for everyone else watching because you guys are kind of acting like them, so I appreciate it. I will see you guys next week. Before we head out, a couple of quick questions that came in while we were talking about that. Okay, and again, I do remind everyone that this is going to go off the Fluent American and the Shadowing channel. If you'd like to watch the replay, you'll have to go to the Forward channel. So please do check that. A couple questions that came in. We had a speaking question from Ahmed. Thank you for asking it. Do you know how to improve my speaking? Because for me, I understand anyone, but I want to speak in business meeting. I feel so nervous and I can't complete a sentence. Do you have a speaking problem? Or do you have a confidence problem? I don't know what your actual goal is. This is and it's something that's a little bit hard to assess over just a couple of minutes. Usually, when I'm having these conversations with students, these are conversations that can take a half hour to an hour to figure out what your actual goal is. But I would sit with myself for a bit to really ask myself, what is the actual problem? Because most likely, it's not actually speaking itself, especially if it's a specific situation that's causing it. There's probably some sort of fear going on. Could be a fear of how people are perceiving you. It could be that, I'll put it like this. A lot of times, whenever you have that voice of doubt that makes you uncertain about something, understand that it's not actually your voice. Very often, it's the voice of someone that very early on in our lives, often without really meaning to, they cast some doubt on us. You told us something that hurt us, and then that allows us to then doubt things in the future. Okay, so if you have that voice that says, "Oh, you're gonna fail at this," or "Oh, you're gonna mess this up," or "Oh, you're gonna make a mistake," or something like that, that's not really your voice. Because why would you tell yourself that you're gonna hurt yourself or something's gonna cause you harm? That doesn't make sense. Okay, so first of all, understand that. When you can have that, it makes it a little bit easier to just understand the actual situation and what you need to do. And you kind of just acknowledge it. When you have a name for something, it makes it easier to address it. So the other thing I say is that, if I have a student that wants to get better at writing business emails, great. How do you get better at writing business emails? Well, you gotta read more business emails and write more business emails. If you're someone that wants to get good at teaching, how do you get good at teaching? Well, you gotta teach. Your first class should not be your best class. Your first class should probably be your worst class, right? So if you're in a business meeting and you're feeling nervous about talking, that's just your body's way of telling you that you haven't done enough business meetings yet. The first one's hard. The 10th one is still a bit uncomfortable. The 100th one is relatively easy. And the 1,000th one, you don't even remember anymore. So if speaking in a business meeting scares you or if it impacts your speech, then That's just your body telling you that you need to go to more business meetings. And the second thing is that when you go to these business meetings, you need to go in there with a specific agenda and to be like, all right, before I leave this business meeting, I need to do the thing I'm afraid of. So if you're afraid of talking in a business meeting, I'm not saying that you need to talk for like 5 minutes in that meeting, but you need to ask a question. So it's like, all right, before this business meeting ends, I need to ask a question. And before this business meeting ends, I need to say one sentence. Whatever the situation may be. Okay, those are the types of challenges I would put for you. I don't think you have a speaking problem. I think you just have an experience problem. You just haven't experienced enough of the thing that you want to get better at. But that's with very limited context from a one sentence text message. So take that with a grain of salt. Uh, Final question. Tom's hanging out with us. What's up, Tom? Thanks for hanging out with us. Alex says, how does the stage accent differ from real life, everyday speech? So every day, you have to avoid soft. I don't think you actually have to avoid softness on the stage. Um, I think sometimes we get really attached to the words that we say, and we think the words are going to do all the work. When in reality, the words do the least work. The words you say are the least important part of what you say. Um, Instead, people are piecing together all the other stuff. They're piecing together things like your body language, piecing together your tone of voice, piecing together what you're doing with your hands, piecing together what you're doing with your face, piecing together what you're doing with your speed, and things like that. So sometimes, I'm not an actor, so I can't speak to that. But I imagine there are some situations where you have a scene that you need to do on a stage, you know, or maybe you're doing a business meeting, or maybe you're giving a presentation, whatever the situation is. There are some times where actually being a little bit incomprehensible, making sounds that no one really understands, that can actually be more effective than being perfectly understandable to convey the thing you want. The form is a way to reinforce the meaning. Like if things are really, really confusing, like maybe to show that you're really frustrated, or to show that you're really angry, or to show that you're really upset, or to show that you're really impacted emotionally by something, maybe you actually need to speak with less clarity for something. Maybe speaking with too much clarity is actually having the opposite impact, right? So I don't know. I don't think necessarily I need to understand everything someone is saying in the right context. In fact, maybe that would actually have the opposite effect. Um, but beyond that, there's some other things. How does being on stage differ from real day, everyday speech? I mean, I think one of the things that you see actors do, especially if you go to like Broadway, or think about cartoons, um, or things like that, when they're conveying emotion, what do they do like on a cartoon? If character is sad, what do? They make the eyes super big. They exaggerate like a real pouting lip. They might add tears and things like that. They're taking everything. They're trying to go to like the most rawest form of that emotion. So trying to ask yourself, how can I, if I'm feeling sad, how can I use everything in my disposal to show that? So I don't think what you're seeing is necessarily fake emotion, but you also have to make sure, if you're talking on stage, think about like if you think of like the global theater, or like the Globe, back when doing like Shakespeare plays, it's a big theater, so like people way in the back need to see what you're doing on stage and understand what's happening. It's a big reason why like operas were really popular, and things like that. It's because even if you weren't close to the stage, just by based on how the characters, what they were doing with their hands, how they were positioning their bodies, even people who were far away from the stage that maybe couldn't hear everything perfectly, or maybe even see exactly the actors' faces, they could still get an idea of what was happening. Okay, so those things can be really valuable assets for you from a communication standpoint as well. Okay. All right. With that, I do have to head out, guys. Like I said before, this is going to go off of the Fluent American and the Shattering channel. But if you would like to practice this, you can go to youtube.com/@goforward. Or if you'd like to just get the audio version, which would also be helpful for me, you can go to fluentamerican.com/podcast, and there will be an audio version there. Okay. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I will see you all later. Hope you have a good day, have a good night, and a good afternoon. You guys take care.